pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, thanks for everybody. Rachel, has anyone given you anything for public comment? I just want to say I'll tell you what, do we have anything, we're probably going to have to also record with one of our cell phones. Are you picking it up?
I'm recording.
Okay, let's get it, oh, here we go.
Oh,
Thanks,
fantastic.
Rachel. Okay. No, you're good, you're good.
Okay, don't let me blast anyone out. Okay, I do want to say, just as a comment, that Beryl struck on Monday. When all of that was said and done, we had 95 to 94% of our population with no electricity. And those of us that live in the country know that what happens after that is that your resources start drying up. So we got down to one grocery store in town, but of course with no electricity, then gas pumps don't work. So then that meant that those people that had generators were not going to have electricity either. So it's kind of been almost like trying to put together a puzzle piece. And so piece by piece, we have put it together. The Texas Department of Emergency Management has responded to everything. We have multiple agencies. Some of them are local people, not just our county employees in the city, but also Sammy Latner and other agencies, TRA. Everybody has been responding, and I have to tell you that once again, Polk County has managed to pull through the absolute most difficult times, and we are on the back side of that, and we appreciate everybody that was a part of the solution. So I do want to say a formal thank you. We know Road and Bridge has been out there frantically. We've had elected officials volunteering to do things. Right now we still have cooling centers open, we still have the pots moving, and we're still trying to make sure that we provide assistance to those in need. We also have a shelter open right now for those people that were oxygen dependent and cannot go home to no electricity and no air conditioning. So we're on the backside, and everybody in here is to be commended for a job well done, and I appreciate it. So do the residents of Polk County. So with that, we'll move on. First of all, in our informational reports, does anyone have an informational report? Nope. Okay. We have a proclamation. We have a proclamation in recognition of Team Texas World Champions at the National Junior High Finals Rodeo. So Team Texas has achieved a clean sweep, securing the top position for both the boys and girls teams. So we would like to recognize those young people, and they have emerged as world champion team overall. The second proclamation is in recognition of Letty Latner herself, our very own Polk County resident, for finishing 6th in the world in breakaway roping. Letty placed 2nd in breakaway roping in the Texas State Finals, qualified for the National Junior High Finals in Des Moines, Iowa, and ultimately finished 6th in the world in breakaway roping at finals in Iowa. And we have Letty herself here. I'm going to get the court to follow us so that we don't have all these ugly tables and Mother's picture. Okay, so Letty, one thing I want to tell you is I have a funny story. Tommy Murphy, I believe it was, Tommy and Matt decided to buy one of Letty's horses after Letty was done with it. So they bought the horse, and the horse promptly threw one of those grown men. And so Matt came home and he said, "Can you believe that? Can you believe that? We bought a horse from a little girl, and we couldn't stay on it." And I said, "Oh, no. You did not buy a horse from a little girl. You bought a horse from Letty Loud, who can ride anything." So, congratulations. And here are your proclamations. They're full of whereas. Okay, because that's where everything that comes from us is. But mostly we just want to tell you and your team, congratulations for a job well done. I can't say that we have ever met world champion qualifiers. So congratulations. Wherever you want to stand is fine.
Perfect.
Congratulations. And congratulations to her crew back there. Okay, we also included a copy of the TRA review in there, which has already been shared publicly by TRA. So, and obviously now is old news since TRA has since put out other releases about the condition of the dam. New business, which is your consent agenda. We have a correction on E, and that is to authorize the Veteran Service Officer to attend the Texas Veterans Commission in July, not August. We need to pull A, which is the minutes. Those need to be tabled. And you have an addendum on B. You have addendum number 1 in the amount of $112,175.87. Is there anything else anyone wishes to pull from the agenda? Okay, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda with those corrections. Commissioner Cassidy, Commissioner Dubos, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 5, consider approval of personnel matters as follows. Review and consideration of personnel action form requests submitted by department heads since the last meeting and review of any authorized emergency hiring. We have no emergency hiring at this time and nothing from elected officials. Motion to approve, Commissioner Cassidy, second Commissioner Purvis. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 6, consider approval of Constable Precinct 2, Bill Cunningham's request to appoint Mark Dubos to Reserve Deputy Constable. This will bring Constable Cunningham's reserve deputies to 11 of the 14 reserves approved by the court. I'm going to assume that you are going to decline to vote. Okay, Commissioner Dubos is abstaining at this point. Do I have a motion to approve? Commissioner Purvis, Commissioner Cassidy, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, consider request for revisions to the budget as follows. You have the FY 2024 budget revisions as presented by the County Auditor's Office. A copy of the proposed revision number 2026-16 and amendment 2024-16A is included for your review. I need a motion. Motion's approved. Commissioner Dubos, second Commissioner Cassidy. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 8, consider approval upon conditions met or rejection of subdivision application as follows. We have Island View Ranch Ranch Estates subdivision located in precinct 1, and the letter from the engineer, it recommends conditional approval, and it is included for your review. That is precinct 1. So, since Commissioner Robertson was not here, is not here right now, with GLS, very well. That comes as a motion from Commissioner Dugos, second Commissioner Cassidy. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. 8B, Bridge Lake Estates, Phase 2 subdivision located in precinct 4. Once again, the letter from GLS is recommending conditional approval and is included for your review. Mr. Cassidy? Motion to approve on conditional approval. Second? Second, Commissioner Purvis. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 9, discuss and consider any and all necessary action relating to bid number 2024-15, request for outside auditor services. On February 27th, the court authorized the purchasing and procurement office to solicit proposals from outside auditing firms for the FY 2024 and 2025 annual audits. All bids were due to be submitted to the purchasing and procurement office by July 1st. To be reviewed and scored by the auditor and the purchasing procurement office in our office. And the auditor will be the one making the recommendation. Mr. Plotz, do you want to provide a person or a vendor, or do you want to?
We looked at everything, and this is a very kind of important relationship situation. And what I would like to do now that we have the bids in is actually meet with these people to see who we're going to be working with, to see which one would make most sense.
Very well. So you want to table it to the next meeting?
Yes.
Very well. With the motion to table for the next meeting to allow for interviews, Commissioner Purvis, Commissioner Cassidy. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10, discuss and consider any and all necessary action related to bid number 2024-21, the Judicial Center exterior brick wall repair. With all the rain that we've had in the last several weeks, the leaks, now we haven't factored in the wind. Leaks at the Judicial Center have become a severe issue. On June 11th, the court authorized the purchasing and procurement office to solicit bids from contractors to repair and reseal the wall to prevent further damages. We only received one bid, Texas Liquid Tech Services, and that bid was in the amount of $61,800 to do the entire building. They need 2 weeks notice to get started, and they can finish in 60 days with a 1-year guarantee or warranty. And at this time, since it's kind of the end of the budget year, then we can get some of the funds from contingency funds, building repair, other areas where those funds have not been extended.
I see the labor is 19.6 until 65, the total is 61.8. I'm assuming if they find something wrong, but it's not to exceed 61.8, that is it.
At this time, yes, sir. Yeah, we're all a little leery. Yes, sir. No, it's not a historic building. It's not a historic building, and so we can move forward as we see fit. So you want to make a bid? Make a motion not to exceed $61,800. Very well. Commissioner Cassidy, Commissioner Dugos, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11, discuss and consider any and all necessary action regarding professional services for Hurricane Harvey federal and state regional mitigation projects funded through the General Land Office, GLO grant number 24-065-044-E536 and 24-065-45-E537. So on May 25th of 2021, the court selected Waxman and Associates as the administrators and Goodwin Lassiter Strong as the professional engineers for our Hurricane Harvey mitigation grant funds. A kickoff meeting was held on July 24th, and the General Land Office informed us that the funding is now finally available. The kicker is that it's now finally available, but it must be expended within 18 months. So all the projects are ready. Waxman and GLS are ready to hit the ground. Keep in mind that Harvey occurred on August 25th of 2017. So everybody's ready to go. We have several things that we need to go ahead and get done. So moving on to that, it will be 11A, the execution of the Civil Rights Resolution and Policies. It's a standard resolution that is required for all GLO funded projects. And there's a copy of the resolution in your packet for your review. So I guess let's do each of these documents separately. I need a motion to approve the execution of the Civil Rights Resolution. Commissioner Dugos, Commissioner Cassidy, any discussion or questions? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. B, execution of the depository signature resolution. Again, it's a standard resolution required for all GLO funded projects, and a copy was included for your review. Commissioner Cassidy, Commissioner Dugos, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. C, execution of the David J. Waxman Incorporated Grant Administrator Agreements. A copy of those agreements was included for your review, and it has been reviewed and approved by legal counsel. Need a motion? Commissioner Cassidy? Commissioner Purvis? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. D, execution of the Goodwill Lasper Strong Professional Engineering Service Agreement. Copy of the agreement is included for your review, and this too has been approved and reviewed by legal counsel. Commissioner Purvis, Commissioner Cassidy, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 12, review and consider approval of amendment number 5 to the General Land Office GLO contract number 20-066-018-C125 for the Hurricane Harvey buyout acquisition program. The purpose of this amendment, which is also included for your review, is to reduce the funding amount of the project by $593,181 for a total amount not to exceed $2,737,500 for the duration of the contract, and to modify the termination date of the agreement to December 31st, 2024. This will also revise the performance statements, the budget, and benchmarks to make it consistent with the two previous changes. I need a motion? Commissioner Purvis? Commissioner Dugos? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 13, discuss and consider any and all necessary action regarding the change orders for the courthouse restoration project as follows. A, ratify approval of change order number 001, approved October 2023 in the amount of $236,606.82, which was paid from the project contingency fund. A copy of the change order is included for your review. The change order includes changing all interior PVC waste and vent plumbing lines to cast iron and copper materials, repointing the masonry, the electrical revisions, and the Knox box installation. This was fully funded by the contingency funds on the project. I need a ratification, motion to ratify. Motion to ratify, Commissioner Purvis. Second. Commissioner Cassidy, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. B, again ratify approval of change order number 003, which was approved in June 2024 in the amount of $94,668, and this is also being paid from the contingency funds from the project. It included stripping, cleaning of existing red concrete floor topping, and was fully funded by the contingency funds. D Motion to approve the ratification. Commissioner Cassidy. Second, Commissioner Purvis. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Uh, 13C, consider approval of change order number 005 in the amount of $419,039.87 to be paid from the Restoration Projects Fund. A copy of the change order is included for your review. The change order pertains to the new roofing system. The courthouse roof replaced in 2016 with an emergency grant from the Texas Historical Commission had a 5-year warranty. Initially, repairs estimated at approximately $39,000 were included in the scope of work, but upon inspection, the contractors determined that repairs alone would not suffice, necessitating a complete roof replacement sooner than anticipated. On October 11, 2022, the court approved an amendment to the agreement with Courthouse Architecture to include the design of a new roof. And so this change order incorporates the full cost of a roof replacement into the contractor's agreement. And basically the agreement was already done on October 11th of 22. No, sir, when they got up there, originally what happened with the roof, and we have discussed this with Susan, with the Texas Historical Commission, with Susan, and they are taking it up to the commission because the roof, the original roof replacement that they were expecting, was in 2016. And it's not old enough for it to have problems. But the roof that was placed on there was approved and was a design from the Historical Commission. So we are now asking them to refund us that cost, and we will be going to speak to the commission in July. Jessica Hutchins and myself will be going to visit with them. Jessica and I have had multiple conversations with them, with meetings and Zooms and so forth, to discuss all these contingencies that have come up, because certainly that roof was not anywhere in our discussion, especially since they're the ones that basically did it.
This is all
Yes, we are trying to get a refund from this, but we already approved the amendment for the scope of work in October of 2022. So now we're just saying, now we'll pay you, and then we'll fix the roof. So, no, sir. Yeah, we did that in 2022. No, this is not additional. This was approved in 2022. So I need a motion. Commissioner Cassidy, Commissioner Purvis, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item number 14, discuss and consider any and all necessary action regarding Terracon authorization to proceed with construction materials, engineering, and testing services at the courthouse. Again, the Texas Historical Commission requires us to have a third-party testing done on the structural components of the courthouse project. Terracon consultants that are out of Lufkin, and they were recommended by J.C. Stoddard. A copy of the authorization to proceed is included for your review, and funding for this is available in the Restoration Projects Fund from surplus depository interest revenue. And so all charges will be billed on a time and materials basis pursuant to the consultant's standard fee schedule.
So this is not coming out of industry fund?
No, it was in the deal.
This was in the original bid?
Yes, sir.
Or not? They're just a new cost.
No, sir. They just need to go in and test everything and make sure that it is built to specifications, right? So that we don't end up with a redone courthouse that is not built. Correct.
So this money's already in.
Yes, sir.
So moved.
Commissioner Cassidy, second, Commissioner Purvis.
Yes.
Commissioner Purvis, all in favor say aye. Any opposed? Very well, motion carries. Item number 15, Commissioner Cassidy and Commissioner Dubose requested this agenda item, to discuss section 600 on the work schedule and time reporting that was modified at our last meeting.
Well, this is gonna be regards to the, I think, what is it, 207? Harvey?
Yes, sir.
I don't know if everybody really understands how 207 really works and stuff. But I'm gonna consider to try to change the policy. I'd love to change it back to where it was before. Because on this one, you know, of course, it's back long ago when we worked 84 hours. You know, for the 4 hours, we was credited, you know, we would receive comp time and stuff. Or some kind of, we were paid back our time for working 4 hours. So now, my understanding and the research that we've kind of checked into and stuff like that, now you have to work 86 hours, so before you get credited any overtime. So the 6 hours that they work over the 80 hours basically is free. You know, so they're not getting anything for the 6 hours that they work over.
That's what I'm.
Okay, I guess I have one question. Andy, have you ever called my office and asked to speak to me and you say no? Okay, I don't have any information. I don't even know what this discussion was about. But I will say this, and I really, my preference was not to do it in a meeting. But part of what has happened is the 207 did get changed to 2-week pay periods. That was to line it up with the rest of the county. We did look into that before we considered that. And the majority of the surrounding counties around us are on 2-week pay periods for law enforcement. I think the only one close to us that is not is Liberty County. Is that right? Okay, so part of what happened is over the last 2 or 3 years, we have received multiple complaints about that people were not being paid the money that we owed them. Have we ever declined overtime payment when the sheriff requested it?
As far as the job and stuff, no.
Okay. So part of what came out is the Department of Labor, actually one of the complaints went all the way up to the Department of Labor. So the Department of Labor came in, did a major investigation in our HR department. And what came out of that was that we have overpaid thousands of dollars because time was not kept accurately. Because some of the sick time, some of the vacation time, some of the overtime was not maintained accurately. So we are moving forward to try to get as accurate a time sheet as we can from the sheriff's office and the jail. I don't mind looking at any other options that are out there. I would like to point out that we must follow statute, law, and we must follow county policy. And so certainly the sheriff, if he cares to come visit with me, then certainly the sheriff is more than welcome to come have a conversation with me. But this did not just sprout out of nowhere. This sprouted out because after the Department of Labor came and reviewed all our information, we had several employees. We're not asking for it to be returned. We're not saying that it was done being fraudulent. We're just saying that our timesheets were so confusing and so difficult to understand and inaccurate that there was no way to keep up with it accurately. So if the sheriff would like to come visit with me, I'll be happy to try to find a solution. But we can't make decisions on partial information.
Make a comment, Judge?
Absolutely, you may. Stand up and scream at us because we can't hear it.
So the Department of Labor complaint, that what I understand was, and listening in some of the meetings was, we were, the 28-day time gap period, we were paid for 14 days. That was part of the complaint that was made. And they changed it saying we need to go to the 2-week time gathering period since we're paid every 2 weeks. Now, as far as this policy goes, it concerned our department. And as far as this policy goes, it's pretty much says that 6 hours that they work over, they're not getting any credit for it. But, and we weren't included in any of the conversations, or we wasn't called for that
Oh,
policy,
whoa, whoa,
which
whoa.
affected us.
All of that was sent to everybody. All those policies were sent.
Once they were approved, yes.
Okay.
Not before they were approved, we didn't get it.
Okay, so here's the thing. In the conversation that you and I had with the sheriff, one of the things that you asked for was, could you all come off at 2:07? And your guarantee was that nobody, that you would monitor that time, and that nobody would go over 80 hours. Now, again, the other thing we found out is that we are one of the only counties that do that. Every other county we check with, and we will research it further, because had I known, then I certainly would have gotten more information. But I did not know. And so, and I've been in your SO for 3 days, not one question from anybody. We had a meeting with you all last week about some questionable spending, and not one word was said in that meeting. So if you never don't want to visit with me, then let me know, and we will certainly research the information.
Well, the only problem is to make it sound like, we had an opportunity to call, you called us in your office.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you called us in your office to talk to us about something totally different.
Yes, sir.
And so, we're under the impression, hey, when we get there to talk to you about this right here, we're trying to get all the answers about this, how we're doing the new, budget, I'm sorry, not budget, how we're doing the new time, if we're gonna do away with 207, we're still trying to get the whole story on that.
We did not do away with
We
207.
were in the office the last couple of days because we were there for emergency over this storm. We're gonna start dragging to the side and talk to you about that at that time. It's not that we don't care, not that we're not trying to.
Sheriff.
We just want to be a part of the conversation.
Sheriff, you never called me for me to be a part of the conversation. So whenever you want to visit with me, let me know.
Here's what conversation we're talking about. We're not the ones in charge of it.
About the 6.0.
Just like the chief said, we just want to be a part of the conversation, Judge. We can't call you to be a part of it if you don't know.
This was drafted and approved, and nobody called who did
Then give me a call, instead of me having an agenda item that I don't even know what we're gonna talk about. So if you want to sit down and visit with me, I'll be happy to. I have never said no. And then we had the young lady show up and say, why aren't we paying dispatchers overtime? We have paid dispatchers overtime every time that we got a request from
Yeah,
them.
but her part of that was that, it had nothing to do with this right here. She was bringing up, why don't we have an overtime policy? Which I understand the court's completely against it. That's the only thing she was talking about. That was not a complaint. She wanted to speak as a person of the public. Even though she's an employee, she's still a citizen of this county. This court still represents her. That's what she wanted to speak about. Had nothing to do with the sheriff's department. That was all on her own.
No, I'm not questioning that.
But we got the email sent to her after that, which she's very upset about. So that's the reason why I brought that point up. She come up as a citizen of the county, not as an employee of the sheriff's department. She was just talking about, why can't we come up with an overtime budget?
Because we would be broke.
No, I get that. I
Because we would be
understand that. But
broke.
that's the reason why she came up. But the only thing on this deal here, it takes away 6 hours from the officers, which they're saying they're being paid in the salary, which is not true, because when we were under the 101, they were still paying it out as a 2-week pay
And
period,
that is
and they were
where-
giving the credit as time to take off, which is being taken away.
And that is where the confusion occurred on timesheets. Because what ended up happening is sick time, vacation time, all time ended up on overtime. And that is where the overpayments happen.
Ours did all end up on overtime.
But yes, sir, a bunch of them did.
No, I'm telling telling you, Judge, it didn't. A lot of it went to comp time, and then some of it,
Andy?
every pay period, we have a problem with time.
Andy, we will show you the reports that we have generated.
Okay.
We will remove the names, because I don't want to create an issue. We will remove the names, but we will show you the reports. And that is why, and again, I'm happy to visit with y'all about whatever we need to do. I'm not opposed to it. What I am opposed to is me not being included in the conversation, and I'm the chief budget officer.
Well, Judge, I agree with that, but we wasn't included either with the budget, with this deal here that was thrown up in court, and it affected us. We wasn't included in that.
Well, then we will be happy to go back and review that, and we will go from there.
Okay.
But since we started this 207 policy, there was one female that did contact the HR department and stuff, that actually worked 6 hours over and asked them about it, and they said, no, you don't get nothing, you have to work over the 86 hours before you get it. Now, I feel like if you work 1 hour of it, you should be credited.
And we will go back.
Has interfered with, people working over.
No, the section 6.0 has interfered, because we're still on the 207. See, it's a section 6.0, and so we will be glad to go back and review that and see what other law enforcement agencies do, so that we can come up with a fair practice for our law enforcement.
Well, I agree with it being fair, but I also agree that anybody that works overtime should be credited for that.
And we make every effort to do that with every department, not just them.
And I don't know if there's a way that what we can do now to go back to where it originally was, until we figure out something different. I don't know.
We can-
I'll make an agreement on that or whatever.
We cannot pay retroactively, that's against the law. We can, however, go back, look at the policy, and come up with a way that the time will be, first of all, documented correctly, so that we don't have incorrect timesheets, because that's another issue. When we have people that come in and fill out a timesheet, and then they took overtime, but they took vacation time, well, how are they getting overtime? You can't get overtime if you don't go overtime. So,
This person worked 6 hours over, it didn't have nothing to do with them taking off.
Well-
This person worked 6 hours over, and was told that they couldn't get paid their 6 hours because of this new policy.
Well, I said, over 80 hours, between that 81, 82, 83, 45, 86, those hours, the way this is set up, all I'm understanding, they weren't getting paid. I'm not asking time and a half, the way I'm reading it and stuff, I see they get paid straight time. But the way, my opinion, they should be getting paid straight time, stuff, 81, 82 hours. But the way I was understanding, the way I was being told about it, they wouldn't get paid anything.
well, and so we will sit down, and once this office knows what the confusion is or what the issues are, then we'll be happy to address it. But I can't address something if I don't know about it.
Yeah, I don't know, I thought when we did it, everybody was gonna work 80 hours.
That's the whole intent, that's right, and that,
Work 80 hours, that's paid for 80
go
hours.
ahead, work 8 hours and go home.
That's the way I thought it was.
That was the intention.
I'm not the HR guru or nothing, but.
No, that was the intention.
That would be doing away with the 207 commissioner business now.
No, because it's flexible, you could have someone that works 30 hours over here and 50 over here, and you still come out with your 80. Nobody else does that. You work 40 or you don't work 40. Every other department is different. So the only department that has that kind of flexibility is the sheriff's office and the jail. See, so you're not doing away with the 207, but if we need to research and if we need to look and see what the most fair option is, I don't mind doing that.
Why do we have to have a 207? Why don't we just, everybody work 80 hours and get paid for 80 hours? Just simplify the whole darn thing.
Well, and that's what's supposed to happen.
I don't understand.
That is what's supposed to happen.
I don't understand the 84 or 86. I never have.
That's the way the 207 is set up.
But I don't understand them.
So the 207K protects the county, is what it's really what it does. It protects the county from the overtime liability. Because it's a lot of overtime. It does protect the county.
It protects this county because if people are not providing accurate timesheets or supervisors are not paying attention to the overtime, then the county will not be able to afford it. And the issue is that the more money we pull out of the budget, then the less money we're gonna have for funding them. And again, we can sit down and have a discussion, and we can include everybody, and we will go from there.
Well, I agree that it does protect the county only if you're taking it out. But if you go over, I also believe that you should get paid for going over, but it's also taking away those 6 hours for the people that do work over. So,
And we will come up with a fair.
That's all I'm asking for. I don't care. They work to get paid.
That's fine, and we will research and see what other counties do. We will come back to the court with some reconsideration on the 6.0.
I'm gonna make a motion to study it, look into it, maybe it's just.
Oh, it was just a discussion item. It was just a discussion item. So, there wasn't any and all necessary, because we didn't have any information. Okay, now, let's talk, budget workshop. So what I did is I went through and we did some graphs. So if you look at the graphs right here that I did, what I did was there's some discrepancies on what's going on in terms of employee pay. So here you go, this right here, 2018, that's when we did the compensation study, and these are the changes that happened in the base pay. And so you can see that there were changes in everyone's base pay, and actually the dispatchers, the telecommunications operators had almost 11% change in their pay scale from the salary survey. Then you move on to 2019, and this is when we've gotten on the compensation study. And then SB 22 right here. And so SB 22 took some of your employees, your deputy sheriffs, which fair enough, they definitely deserve some more money. So the state provided a grant, right, to boost those salaries. Now, the purpose of the grant was so that the sheriff can remain more competitive with urban areas, so that he's not losing employees to Montgomery County, Liberty County, Houston. I think we've had a lot of people go that direction. Now, I have noticed we have a lot come back too. So they must like working for the sheriff. Okay, so here's your deputies. This is the green. And then if you look at the purple, that's your environmental enforcement. So your deputies are now up here. If you look at the dark green, those are your corrections officers. And so again, they've gone up. So they're peeking out right there. If you look right here, the dispatchers started out in the pay scale, started out from the compensation study, started out right here. So now you have your dispatchers, which is the orange line, going along, and they went up along with the deputies, but now your dispatchers have fallen under. And this is where we are right here, okay? This is where we are. So then you look at the next one, you have your office managers, which are right here. That's basically that category. And then deputy clerk. Okay, so here's what's happening with deputy clerks. So your deputy clerks, everybody was coming along, But now what has happened is this gap right here has changed. So it has basically skewed our salary schedule. Now, we've received a grant for us to be able to provide additional funds to the sheriff's office and to the jail. And at this time, not only is all the money there, but if they completely fill their requirements, right, if they completely fill their positions, and we remain in compliance, because we are gonna remain in compliance, we don't wanna lose the grant, because we're gonna remain in compliance, and we remain in compliance, then taxpayer dollars have already been invested right here. We've already put taxpayer dollars in there. We have not put additional taxpayer dollars down here. I anticipate, because I visited with our legislators and asked them why they had not included the telecommunications operators in the SB 22. They didn't. So of the employees, the large group of employees that the sheriff and the jail have right now that were not included in SB 22, that's a big hit for them. Because here's your gap that has now occurred for them. So I think that we've got to bring that group of employees, that includes telecommunication officers, up. Now, according to the legislators, that was something that they missed, and they intend to include them in the next legislative session. However, nobody has said anything to me. Sheriff, has anyone told you if they're going to increase your grant? Okay. So if they don't increase the grant, but it becomes a requirement, then the taxpayers are going to have to fund that requirement completely themselves, because we're not going to ask the sheriff to take money away from someone else. Right? Everybody with me on that? Okay, so these gaps need to be narrowed for our salary survey to continue to work. The county clerk's office, the district clerk's office, my office, the district attorney's office, every other office is also competing with Houston, Montgomery County, Liberty County. In Shelley's case, she's been competing with the city. The city took one for her attorneys. So that is part of what we really need to look at very, very carefully during this budget. Okay. You can let it fall. Louis, thank you. Okay, here's where we went through and looked at the elected officials' compensation. So, you've got the county judge, you've got the commissioners, and the commissioners are over here hiding underneath all the other elected officials, because basically what we did was we set those salaries, and everybody's salary was the same, but not travel money. So then what happened was right here, and I accept full responsibility for this, so right here, we had your JPs who are responsible for one precinct, okay? And they were slightly below all our elected officials. But then, we gave them additional travel money, which bumped them above every elected official. So now they're up here continuing, and now our other elected officials are district clerk, county clerk, tax assessor, collector,
Treasurer.
everybody else is going to end up below, and they have responsibility for the whole county. And that's why in my budget, I included for them to receive additional funding, because this should not be happening.
They don't travel anywhere.
No, sir, they do not, but they're responsible for 4 precincts, not for 1.
Yeah, but you got 2 judges, like, especially the one in, 2 and, 1, 4, but 2 more than the other.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, you still have 2 judges that actually do more than the other judges as well.
And that's correct. That was the information we provided to you all, where you could see what the staffing patterns look like, right, what the activity was in each of those JP courts. So, but their work, their travel, is to cover that 1 week a month that they actually are covering the whole county. Okay? But these individuals out here cover the whole county every day. They don't receive any travel money because they don't need it. But what I'm saying is that their compensation from the county, okay, their compensation from the county should more than cover, and should certainly be more than a precinct only. You all get additional compensation because you do cover the whole county, and the travel is more to cover your precinct duties, because you use your vehicles all day, every day. Correct? See? So what we did was we came up with a reasonable expectation that the JPs would receive 1/4 of the travel as opposed to you all. But somehow we have to adjust the fact that these people out here are still responsible for the whole county, not just for 1/4. So that's where that's coming from. And then, we also need to get our auditor, if you looked at the TAC review, we ordered books for all of you all. We haven't received them yet, but you can go on the TAC website and look at all of that. Is that our auditor is also falling behind. Now, I will say this, is Stephanie here? The auditor has been really championing for Stephanie and his staff. So monies that he receives that are at his discretion and the district judge's discretion, he has been more than generous with his staff. But nevertheless, his base compensation needs to come up to where it's more equitable. So this is where we are with that. But I wanted you to see the visual of what happens if we do not make adjustments in some of these. Now, this will all be, this will all be, needs to be decided at the next meeting, because we have to publish our elected officials' salaries. So, and Sheriff, you are also included with all the other countywide elected officials in terms of the increase that we are proposing. The sheriff, his travel got absorbed into his salary, and then the county is now providing him with a vehicle. Okay. So take a look at the budget information that we provided to you, because this will be a decision that we have to make. We do still have, one of the things that I really need for you to think about is in terms of bringing the, okay, let me explain. The 200 level pay group, we did that. that's not provided by anybody. We did that because when the sheriff sent us his request for how the money would be distributed, then, what we did was we created, originally we were gonna pay it as, a separate check, right? But the state said no, that it had to be incorporated into their salary, which was fine. And so we incorporated it into their salaries, and then we had to create a different pay scale because, it didn't fit, it didn't fit within our pay scale. And we didn't want to reduce the money that the sheriff wanted them to receive. And so we just created a different pay scale that incorporated those adjustments. But the issue is that a high tide raises all ships, but not if you dig a hole in yours. So we have got to make an effort to provide increases for those employees that currently are not receiving anything to speak of. So if you take and you do a general across the board, 15 or 10% or whatever the proposals were, if you look at what this trajectory is, if you look at these trajectories right here, then the gap between the low and the high only gets bigger. Which is part of why we need to focus on our 100 level people. We need to focus on our 100 level people so we can bring them up. Because if you look at this trajectory where some of the employees are headed this way, so if we have, and we do have employees that say are making $30,000, well, if you give them a 10% increase, that's $3,000. But then we have some employees that are making, well, we have some employees in Shelley's office that we're not going to count.
Yeah, I'd like to say something.
Hey, you can talk to me in a minute, in a meeting. Okay, but if we have some employees that are making $60,000, $70,000, then you're going to give them a $6,000 or $7,000 raise, as opposed to the low man on the totem pole that's only going to get $3,000. If we don't lift the bottom, then we are going to definitely hemorrhage employees down there, which includes all of Road and Bridge, all of my staff, all of Tatum's staff, all of Terry's staff, all of Vern's, IT, the auditor, it includes everybody else. So we have got to find a way, and I'm open to suggestions, we have got to find a way to close this gap to one degree or another. Because we keep talking about how inflation affects these people. Well, you can imagine what the impact of inflation is on these people. Because a gallon of gas costs the same, regardless of how much money you're making. If we live to this, we are committed, obviously we're committed because we put taxpayer dollars into the SB 22. If we are committed to lifting everybody, then we can do it. Because that grant, SB 22, is not a forever grant. Been there, done that. The state is going to start out by saying, oh yeah. And then they're going to say, oh, we can only fund 80%. Well, who's going to pick up the other 20? And then they're going to say 60. And then they're going to say 40. And then they're going to say 20. And then they're going to say you're on your own. And in the meantime, we will not have brought up these people, and we will not be able to provide good services in Polk County. This is our golden opportunity to be able to do that. Otherwise, that gap just gets wider and wider and wider and wider, which was exactly what the problem was when we decided to do the salary survey. because we were hemorrhaging employees in every department. The biggest group that was being hemorrhaged when I got here was dispatchers. They were going everywhere. The Alabama Shot Pride was stealing some of our dispatchers. And they require a very large commitment of time and training to get there. And then they were gone. Which would be why that salary survey made the point of saying that they needed to have an 11% increase in salary. Because according to the market survey, they were underpaid. So look at your budgets. Let me know. But we cannot afford to do across the board a 10% increase for every single employee, and then, because 10% is not equal from one employee to the next. So if you have other suggestions, please send them to me, and we can go from there. I do need to have your suggestions pretty quickly, because we need to approve at the next meeting, we will have to approve the elected officials. The hearing for the district judges is ended this month, and we need to be able to provide them with information as well. The district judges have always been very good about working with us cooperatively, and we ensure to them that their employees will also receive consideration. And so this is going to depend on what this court decides to do with the lower group. Any questions?
Motion to adjourn.
Trivia. No, we have an agenda. And so, what we need is to consider any and all necessary action regarding the continuation of disaster declaration, including compensating employees that work during the disaster declaration. Some employees were not able to work, so let me clarify some of this. If they were unable to work because there was nothing for them to do, we did pull some of our employees that would have been in offices, and they have been manning pods, and they have been working in other areas. I think Rachel's office was definitely involved in that. So those people that were unable to work and did not get called in by their elected official or department head to do anything, then they will receive administrative time. So money will not be taken away from them because it will be considered administrative time. The ones that did work, they were scheduled to work. If you were scheduled to work, then that's straight time from Monday through Thursday and whatever overtime they accrued. And I will visit with you all about what we're going to do about your folks, about the 80 to 86 hour, okay, because it was a disaster declaration. Okay, so they will accrue administrative time that they can use at any other time and at a later date within the next 12 months. And then whatever, they will also be paid whatever overtime they have accrued during that time. And then with the overtime employees, please make sure that they complete a timesheet for the disaster declaration. Do not put it on your regular timesheet for the county. Everybody knows how to, we've been through this enough times and surely know how you fill out a disaster declaration timesheet. So please complete the disaster declaration timesheet. So I need a motion for us to, do we need to go ahead and extend the disaster declaration? We need to extend the disaster declaration 30 days, I'm assuming.
Yes.
So we have a motion to approve 30-day extension and making sure that people fill out their disaster declaration time sheets. And you're able to pay them. Okay, that comes from Commissioner Dubus. Do I have a second? Commissioner Cassidy. All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Now,
Nope.
Motion to
Resolution
adjourn.
for the disaster compensation.
What's that?
Resolution for the disaster compensation.
Oh, you want me to go separately? We
Yeah.
did it together.
Okay, I'll work that.
We did disaster compensation and extension together.
Perfect. Thank you.
They also need to fill out a 214, the 214 for 14, they need to fill a 214 out.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to make sure that
Yes, ma'am.
they're aware of it.
Because all those hours have to be documented also for state and federal government. Okay, thank y'all. Thank you, Rachel. Our Shalana for the day.
Okay.